Once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself, Khilesh Kumar, Assistant Professor in English, and this is your English literature class. And today we will complete our remaining poem, Ode on a Grecian Arm, composed by John Keats. So, good morning, all of you. So, in our previous video, we have discussed about part first of the poem, Ode on a Grecian Arm by John Keats, and we have taken a brief view on the introduction to the poet John Keats. John Keats was an English romantic poet, and he was in second generation of romantic poets along with Lord Byron, B.B. Shelley, and he died when he was only 25 because of tuberculosis, and he got name and fame after his death. Vivid imagery and sensuousness are striking characteristics of his entire poetry, and he was very much influenced by Edmund Spenser, Endymion, Isabella, to a Nightingale, Hyperion. These are some remarkable creations, and in Keats' poetry we see love for poetry, love for beauty, beauty of nature, beauty of women, beauty of art and literature. And in this poem also, John Keats talked about the beauty of art, because this poem is in form of an ode, and you know, an ode is always addressed to someone, and here in this poem John Keats addresses the poem to an ancient Grecian arm, and this poem composed in 1819, and especially in this poem the poet gives the description about the images depicted on that Grecian arm. So we have studied that the poet presents some kind of picture, some kind of images depicted on that arm, the image of the male character and the reluctant looking women, and next a young piper who is sitting under some trees. So these scenes are in a frozen situation. So if the piper in that image, the piper is playing and singing a song, so that song will be never ending, because this is an image. So through this idea, the poet John Keats makes, or we can say presents the perfect example of the immortality of art. Next, the poet tells about a depicted scene on the arm in which two young lovers. So now the poet John Keats mentions another image that is depicted on that arm. So next image is the image of two young lovers. So the poet tells about the depicted scene on the arm in which two young lovers are nearly kissing. Two young lovers are nearly kissing, but their lips can never meet. Why? Actually, this is a sensuous, or we can say, we see the sensuousness in this scene, and this is a very passionate scene in which two young lovers are looking each other, and they are about to kiss. They are nearly kissing. Their lips near each other. So, but their lips can never meet. Their lips is about to touch each other's lips, but this is an image, and their lips can never meet. So this is a very passionate scene in which two lovers are about to kiss. So the kiss will not be happen. The kiss will not be happen, and both lovers will always love passionately each other. Why both lovers will always love passionately? Because their feeling of love, their feeling of kissing will not be fulfilled, and when their feeling will not be fulfilled, they will always have some kind of feeling in their heart for each other, and their heart always attract each other. So both lovers will always love passionately each other, and the beauty of the girl can never be faded by the power of time, and the beauty of the girl can never be faded by the power of time. Why? Because this is an image, and in this image the girl is beautiful, and the arm is a part of an art, and in this poem the poet immortalizes the art. So the beauty of that girl can never be faded by the power of time, because the beauty of girl will be immortalized by the poet. The image of the trees on the arm. Next image the about the trees on the arm, and his branches are happy forever. We see that the branches of the tree are happy forever because they will never lose their leaves. Because they will never lose their leaves. Because here trees are, or we can say, these are images, and the branches are happy forever because they will never lose their leaves, and they will never say goodbye to spring. They will never say goodbye to spring. So this is the scene of trees, and the poet mentions about the happy branches, and the poet says that happy branches is the symbol of art, and happy branches will be forever. The branch will be happy forever. Next, in the poem, the poet mentions that mortal beauty will be faded. So this is the theme of the poem. The poet mentions that mortal beauty will be faded. If I talk about a very famous poem of William Shakespeare, shall I compare it to a summer's day? So in that poem we see that the poet immortalizes the beauty of his beloved, because in the poet tries to immortalize the beauty of art, but the physical beauty, mortal beauty here refers to physical beauty, will be faded by the time, by the power of time, by the date. But beauty of art and truth cannot be faded. But beauty of art and truth cannot be faded. So mortal beauties, all the mortal beauties will be faded by the power of time, but the beauty of art cannot be faded. Okay, and in our previous slide, we have seen that the poet mentions about the immortality of the beauty of that girl, the girl who is sitting with his lover. So this is the main theme of the poem, that mortal beauty will be faded, but beauty of art and truth cannot be faded. And John Keats closes the poem with these beautiful lines. John Keats closes the poem with these beautiful lines. Beauty is truth. Beauty is truth. And truth is beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all you need to know. So, at the end of the poem, John Keats mentions that all the beautiful things are truthful and all the truthful things are beautiful. So, beauty is truth and truth is beauty. So, John Keats mentions the beauty of art in this poem, and he immortalizes the beauty of art. So, this is your poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn by John Keats. And you know, this is an ode, and ode is always refers to someone or something. And in this poem, John Keats addresses this ode to an ancient urn, and the poet describes one by one the images depicted on that urn, and through these images the poet tries to convey a message regarding the immortality of art, the beauty of art. And you know that John Keats mentions in his poem Endymion, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. And especially in this poem, beauty is truth and truth is beauty. So these two lines, one from this poem, beauty is truth and truth is beauty, and one from Endymion, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So very remarkable and beautiful lines. And through this poem, the poet mentions about the beauty of nature and the beauty of art. So this is your remaining part and part second of the poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn, composed by John Keats. John Keats was a very significant and popular romantic poet. So thank you guys, and subscribe this YouTube channel. Thank you so much.